AITA for wanting to break up with my boyfriend over his dog. I love my boyfriend, but I absolutely hate his dog. He has a 9-year-old short snout dog who is the devil herself. She only eats people food. Uh, Not even good quality, like fast food chicken, burgers, carnitas, steak. If he doesn't get it from a fast food joint, he cooks it himself after slathering it with salt and pepper. Mind you, I am a vet tech and have told him countless times how horrific this is and how he is feeding her into heart disease and diabetes, but he doesn't care enough to change it as it is all she will eat, and he rather die than watch her sniff food and walk away and miss a meal. We have been late to events because her chicken isn't done cooking. We have had to turn down restaurants because his dog doesn't like anything from there. Um, Seriously, what the fuck? This dog is mean as fuck. She will bite you if you brush against her in bed, pick her up, or if there's strangers in the house. She is extremely food aggressive, and my boyfriend sometimes decides to feed her in our bed with us. So if we even move a muscle, she attacks our feet. I have been bitten countless times, and so has my boyfriend. She shits in the bed. Yes, you heard me right. I have woken up to shit on my leg and all over the sheets because this dog just decided to let loose in the bed. This has happened multiple times, and my boyfriend simply does not care. He just brushes it off, changes the sheets, and then proceeds to put the dog back on the bed. One time we were having sex and were interrupted because his dog shat right next to our naked bodies. I come back from the bathroom to lay down, and there's dog piss in the bed. He doesn't see the huge issue with this. My dog is a beagle and he is mostly sweet but very quiet. My dog has been sleeping and his devil dog will randomly come up to my dog and bite the shit out of him. She bullies my dog as she will follow him around to nip at him when he is just trying to exist. Fuck this dog. Seriously. She is a brachycephalic, so she is sloughed. I am a very sensitive sleeper, and she will keep me up all night from snoring so loud the walls vibrate. I toss and turn all night when I'm at his house and end up walking away with 2 hours of sleep. If her snores doesn't wake me up, her barks will because she randomly decides to have barking fits at 3, 4 a.m. I have cried out of frustration because I worked 10-hour shifts the next day and got no sleep. I've resorted to sleeping on the couch when I'm at his house because he refuses to kick the dog out. The list goes on, but these are the primary reasons as to why I hate his fucking dog. I cannot say a single word to this man because he becomes ultra defensive and has even kicked me out of his house once because I got mad at him for feeding his dog the very expensive beef I got for him. He is convinced his dog is basically a human and shouldn't have to do anything she doesn't want to, and she can just do whatever she wants because free will or whatever. Um, my boyfriend is talking about moving in with me in the future, and I have to break the news that it will not happen because I will not welcome his dog into my house. It's ruining our relationship because I hate going over to his house because of his dog. So I only go a couple times a week when I don't work the next day. This dog is 9 years old. She has 3+ years to go. I don't know if our relationship can continue because of this dog, as I don't want to wait 3+ years to be able to progress my relationship and move in with my boyfriend. He is in complete denial about his dog and her behavior. A Stati to ASEA for ending a relationship due to incompatibility. I, 23F, have made it very clear I have no interest in ever having children. Um, it's never been something I wanted, and it's something I make a point in bringing up in the talking stage of the potential relationships. My now ex, 25M at first, was on board with never having children and saying he was happy being the fun uncle. By this point, we'd been together a year. While recently his sister 30F gave birth to her first daughter after having 3 boys, my ex Jack was instantly obsessed with his newborn niece. He's been going over daily to help his sister and watch his nephews, while his BIL returned to work. Because after his first niece was born, he's been talking about how much he'd really enjoy having a little girl of his own and how much he'd enjoy being a dad. I reminded him that I really did not want children, but if he did, I understood and wouldn't stand in his way of finding a woman he could have a family with. He said he knew, but maybe I would change my mind after spending time with the new baby. This isn't something I've ever done, as I believe new parents should have the right to decide when/who was around their newborn, and his sister had always respected I didn't like children and had never asked me to babysit her newborn. I did help in other ways like cleaning the house, cooking meals, laundry, etc., just not babysitting. I very reluctantly agreed, and his sister even asked me several times if I was sure I was comfortable. My boyfriend insisted everything would be fine, so I told her I'd be okay. Well, I wasn't. I couldn't take the crying. It was like nails on a chalkboard for me. I barely lasted 10 minutes before I handed the baby to her mother and apologized before I left. My boyfriend was very upset, saying I barely tried to take care of the baby. I reminded him that I didn't like kids, and this was one of the reasons I didn't want them. His sister later texted me saying she was sorry she didn't insist on her brother leaving me out of this, and I told her it wasn't her fault. Finally, I told my boyfriend we needed to have a serious conversation about if we were even compatible anymore. He agreed to the conversation. I asked him if he wanted kids now, and he said yes right away, saying he wanted a little girl of his own and how great it would be if we were to start a family. I was a little upset when I heard this, but I remained calm. I told him that I understood he wanted a family, but I still very much did not. I told him that I loved him and thanked him for a great year. He asked what I was talking about, and I told him I was breaking up with him because he wanted kids and I didn't. That there was no point in us staying together anymore due to the fact of him wanting kids and I not wanting them. Thankfully, we do not live together, so there's no need to find new accommodations, and I've returned his key. He's been texting constantly, begging for another chance and saying he'd rather have me than have kids. I don't want to run the risk of either one, him tampering with my birth control, or two, resenting me for him not having kids. I feel like I'm an ass because until this, we had a great relationship and were overall pretty happy. Our friends and families were divided, saying that since he changed his mind, maybe I will too. I don't believe I will, as I've never wanted kids since I was a child. So, AITA, Stody 3, AITA for not having sex with my husband. My 38th have married to my husband, 39, for about 15 years and child together. Very much. And in most aspects of our relationship, we are perfect match. We have similar interests, political views, and career goals. We both contribute to chores. I'm a bit more focused on cleaning, and he is a great cook. So I think we complement each other very well. All that is to say that he is a great husband. So this is very much a me issue. Throughout our relationship, he has wanted sex more often than me. The last time we talked about it, he said he would prefer sex 2, 3 times a week. For the last year or so, I have only been able to have sex about 2, 3 times a month, but honestly, I can't remember when the last time we had sex was. And I feel like I, most nights I'm just too tired. We put the child to bed at 8, and I am ready to go to sleep right then. Usually, I will tell my husband that I am feeling tired before he gets a chance to initiate, so he doesn't have to feel bad when I turn him down. It isn't that I don't enjoy sex, I do, when it's happening at least. I just need my sleep more. I can tell this bothers him. He hasn't initiated in a while, but during the day, he does give me frequent compliments and long hugs, which I think is his way of keeping the door open. Honestly, this kind of bothers me. I wish he would just lay off. I expect he would want to talk about it sooner or later, and when he does, I want to feel confident that I'm not in the wrong here. This isn't something I can just change. Does this so AITA here? Stody for AITA for wanting to tag along on a boys' trip with my fiance to the same city the girl he cheated on me lives with. Background, we have lived together most of our relationship. I own the house. So back in July/August 2024, I found out my boyfriend of 4 years was having an emotional/virtual flirting and sexting type relationship with a female coworker. I watched them cross the line in real time until I had enough evidence and confronted him. We broke up and I was done, but he wanted to work it out. I laid out every single thing that would have to change slash we would have to work on together before I was comfortable calling him my SO again. This included therapy, transparency, and over communication, as I have severe anxiety and trust issues that were exacerbated by this experience. It took time and a lot of work on my part to come December, and his manager at the same company the other woman worked at and who was aware of the entire situation invited my BF to visit the manager's city for his birthday at the end of January. I was with my BF during this call, and we all spoke like it was going to be a couples thing. A few days later, I found my BF booking the flight without me. I asked and said, I thought it was a couples thing. And he said, no, it's a boys' trip. Here's why I'm upset. The woman he cheated on me with lives only hours away from where he's going. I tried to explain to him why this upsets me and how this would look to our families who know he cheated and that the woman was from work and lives where he's going. Now he's saying I'm controlling and he was going to crash on a couch, so there's no room for me, and whatever excuses he has. I have reminded him that he cheated and it's his responsibility to make me feel safe in our relationship. Um, and my heart is with him in this. And I hope he's listening to this because he can. I check his phones regularly and I know for a fact he hasn't spoke with her on anything. I have checked and she supposedly has a new boyfriend. BUT for me, it's the principle of the matter. Edit. This is not the first solo trip he has taken. He's been to Vegas for work and Orlando with his sick grandpa. I never insisted on coming on those or asked for any reassurance as I didn't any this this is not about just for me. This is about he doesn't see or understand why the specific trick trip bothers me, especially since I was involved in the initial planning conversation, and she's hours away by car, not plane, and that's what he's told me. So IDK. It K Stody 5, AATA for telling my BF of 2 months I downloaded Tinder after we decided to take a break. I 32F started dating my now ex 29M, Harry, in October, shortly after a dramatic breakup. Harry knew it and disclosed that he planned to move abroad within 2 years, which clashed with my life goals. Despite this, we agreed to start a monogamous relationship but keep it casual. In December, I went on a pre-scheduled 3-week trip, returning on Christmas Eve. Harry declined to join me and invited me to spend Christmas with his family. but I wasn't ready for that step. Family of 6 on a remote farm. In the days after were my birthday, New Year, and a religious holiday important to me. Harry told me he would miss the first two, but hopes to make it for the third. However, on Christmas Eve, he informed me he would be visiting a male friend. An hour away would be easy to first stop in our town and wouldn't return for at least another week, skipping my holiday. I was upset. Not about his plans, but because he didn't prioritize meeting me first or handle the situation tactfully. It meant not meeting for more than 1 month after only 2 months of a relationship. When I expressed my feelings, he became defensive, stating it was his life and he wouldn't change how he operates. I suggested we transition to friends with benefits and slash or consider a break. He said a break was fine and refused to discuss further. This was all by texts. He texted Christmas, my birthday, and New Year, but didn't call. At one point, I mentioned downloading Tinder, and he used me of disrespect, suggesting I wanted to break up. I re- I reminded him he had agreed to the break, and that I just wanted to reevaluate our relationship, living my life in the meantime, given that he said he living his as he see fit. I never cheated, did not consider this as cheating, and would not do so if he would have been willing to discuss at least over the phone. Sh- Explicitly stated this was a deal breaker. Then on my religious holiday, my pet of 20 years died unexpectedly. I was devastated, having already lost another pet just when Harry and I started dating. He learned of my loss, but only texted that he was back in town and would drop off my things the next day. When he came, I was visibly distraught from crying for over 24 hours. He handed me a neatly packed box, refused to come in, saying he was going out, had me keep a plant I had babysitted for him, and wished me a good evening. I'm okay with the breakup as we clearly had different expectations. However, the timing with my pet's death and his lack of empathy felt hurtful. My friends agree I'm not the but this feels like the dumbest breakup ever. I'd appreciate your perspective. Could I have handled things differently? Stoddy 6, AITA for wanting my boyfriend to remove someone he had a casual hookup with from his life. I'm 25th bisexual and in a relationship with another bisexual 25M. And we've been together for almost a year now, and we're really happy. We have a loving and comfortable relationship. He's an amazing boyfriend, has never let me down. Of Since I'm new to relationships, I've never seriously dated or even casually hooked up with anyone before him. I sometimes struggle to process certain things. On the other hand, my boyfriend, being older, has more experience. He's had a previous girlfriend and dated many people, which has never been an issue for me. The problem is that I deal with a lot of anxiety and abandonment fears due to family issues. I'm working on this in therapy, but it's still a big challenge for me. From the start of our relationship, I noticed a guy frequently interacting with my boyfriend on social media. At first, I didn't think much of it. I assumed they were just friends. Later, I found out that my boyfriend and this guy had hooked up a few years ago. This made me a bit uneasy, especially since this guy's comments sometimes have a flirty or suggestive tone. My boyfriend has other friends who are ex flings, but they never bother me. It's just this one guy that makes me uncomfortable. I mentioned this to one of my boyfriend's friends, and he said, "Be careful with that guy. He's kind of obsessive." That stuck in my head. He even showed me a conversation from September 2024 when my boyfriend and I were already dating, where this guy said he missed my boyfriend. That made me feel really anxious. That I also found out that before our relationship started, my boyfriend and this guy exchanged flirty messages and photos. Knowing this made me even more uneasy. I sat down with my boyfriend and explained how I felt about this. He was very understanding and told me he would stop engaging with this guy as much, which I appreciated. But recently, I saw that they were still talking. The conversation was normal and harmless, but it's still, I know my boyfriend doesn't have bad intentions, but I'm worried because he's such a kind and helpful person. He wouldn't ignore someone in need, no matter who they are. I'm afraid this guy might take advantage of that kindness, keep pushing boundaries, and potentially create problems in our relationship. I don't want to be controlling or toxic by asking him to block this guy, but it's hard for me to deal with. Seeing messages from this guy to my boyfriend's friends about how much he misses him or the possibility that he has ulterior motives really upsets me. It feels like he's trying to create an opportunity to be a wedge in our relationship, and I feel awful about all of this. Lately, my therapy sessions have been entirely focused on this situation. I don't know what to do anymore. Am I the asshole?